back to the Wolf Customs YouTube channel. I'm Justine and my ats are down below. Today I wanted to tell you guys what made me, or inspired me I guess, to build my truck. So I could make this YouTube video really short, but then it would be really boring. So let's take it back, do some history, and then let's kind of get into what inspired me to build my truck. So job history, I started working when I was 14 on a farm with my horses, and then when I turned 15, I moved to North Carolina. Didn't really have a job my sophomore year. Sophomore year to junior year, I turned 16. I went to New York for the summer and spent the summer there, and I worked at a friend's country store for the summer. I saved, I think, $3,000 in 2.5 months, which was really good for a 16-year-old, just so everybody knows. After that, I came home. I was jobless for a few months. I worked for an ice cream store downtown. During that time, I really built up there. I became a manager the summer between junior and senior year. Once I started that, I then went from being the manager, whatever, I went to college. So my senior year, I dual enrolled. I was obviously a high school senior, but I was a college freshman as well. During that time, I worked 40 to 50 hours a week plus school, which was a lot. Sometimes I'd work open to close, whatever. And then after my senior year, that summer, I think it was like 3 or 4 days before graduation, I quit the ice cream store. It got to be too much. I couldn't do college and high school at the same time. Granted, I was graduating, but I was going into like a full thing of college, and I was just like, man, I can't really do this. So after that, I went and worked for TJ Maxx part-time. My parents were helping me out. They were like, you pay for college, but you can live here. It's fine. I then got another job, so I wasn't making enough money at TJ Maxx. I kind of hated it. Wasn't getting enough hours, so then I got another job working for Gander Outdoors. Long story short for that one, I basically ended up quitting TJ Maxx and going to work for Gander Outdoors full-time. The winter of 2019, Gander Outdoors was closing, so I got relocated to Camping World in Concord. If you don't know, they're sister companies, so they're owned by the same person. So I ended up going to work for them in Concord. I was a service rider there for a while. Didn't really like it. Hated the drive every morning. Hated the people I worked with. So I went from having a family at Gander to not really having a family at all at Camping World. I was kind of alone. Didn't really have any friends. Nobody I knew. So I really hated it there, so I quit. Then COVID hit, so I quit in March. I can't quit Camping World in March of 2020, and then I went and worked for AT&T for like 2 weeks, and then COVID hit. And since I was a private contractor through AT&T, I ended up not getting laid off, but like we weren't able to work as much, so I ended up quitting there. I then started an OnlyFans, kind of used it a little bit, but not really. I used it enough to pay the bills. Okay, let's just put it that way. So I left my house. After I quit AT&T, I left my house in March of 2020. I moved out. I moved into my apartment in the middle of April of 2020. And that's when I started the OnlyFans, was in March, whatever. So I did enough to get into an apartment. I did enough to pay the bills, etc., etc. And then my truck that I had at the time, so the truck that I had at the time, the transmission was slipping. It was a 2003 Ford Ranger, so it had 176,000 miles on it. The transmission was slipping. It was time for something else. So I had saved up enough money to put a down payment on a truck, which is when I got my F-150. I got a base model F-150. I got nothing special, but the truck had the interior that I wanted, which was the full screen, the center console. I didn't want the bench seat. So it doesn't look like a work truck on the inside. It has nice, cloth, whatever. So I got that truck, and then I was like, well, crap, now I have a truck payment, now I have an apartment to pay for. So I started working on OnlyFans, like, full-time, like, hard. So kept working. In May, I broke my leg, and I took a hit really hard because I couldn't get out of bed for 6 weeks. So after that, when I finally was able to get out of bed and start walking around and things like that, I started working heavy into OnlyFans, like crazy. I was like, no, I am making as much money as I can. I'm profiting as much money as I can. I'm putting as much money as I possibly can into my savings account, which is exactly what I did. In August of 2020, I bought my F-250. I put money down on that. So I do finance both trucks, which I don't think there's anything wrong with financing a vehicle if you can't buy it cash. Not a lot of people can pay 70 grand for a truck outright. Not at 20 anyways. So I did that. And then I was like, well, this will be great. I'll have something as a tow pig. I can tow my horses with it. You know, I'm kind of into the truck thing, but not really. Like, I don't really have the money to be doing that. Little did I freaking know. I was with a guy who was interested in building trucks. I really got into it at the time. So the journey began. The reasoning behind the wolf on my truck, obviously that's my last name, but there's a lot more to it. So my stepdad adopted me when I was 15, officially adopted me when I was 15. I took his last name, but he came into my life when I was 2. He's been just a huge impact, I guess you could say. I don't feel like I would be where I am without him. I don't think I would be the woman I am today. I don't think I would be the business owner that I am today. I wouldn't know what I know today. I wouldn't, I just have a lot to thank him for. So, sorry, it makes me sad. Anyways, so he is like my best friend. I can go to him with anything and he's going to help me out. So the wolf all over the truck is for my dad. It's not for me. Yes, my business is Wolf Customs. I wanted my business to have Wolf Customs on it because I wanted his last name. He has a son, but he's not married, doesn't have kids yet. So I wanted something that, my dad could be proud of. So when he sees the business and he sees the truck, he's proud. And my dad's been proud of me for many reasons over the years. But this, I think, is probably taking the cake. Nala, please be quiet. I think this one takes the cake. So at the end of the day, the truck is for my dad. It's not for me. It's for my dad. And if I say dad, I'm referring to my stepdad. I'm not usually referring to my sperm donor. So, it's not really an interesting story, I guess. But anyways, so stepdad is the reason I built the truck. He is everything to me. So, at the end of the day, everything that I do is for him and for God. I've been really heavy into Christianity my whole life. I've always been a Baptist, saved, whatever. But, since I've been home and in my element, I have really been praying about everything and turning life around and really trying to focus on what's going to be best for me, for my family, for, what I want in my future, things like that. So, I hope this video helps. It's not very long and it's definitely not very educational, but why did I build my trucks? I built my trucks for my dad. At the end of the day, long story short, that's who they're for. But anyways, follow, like, subscribe. If you like this video, leave me a comment. If you want more like this, leave me another comment. Love you guys.